The original developers of TCP/IP couldn't fathom the size that our internet would grow to. The possibility that every user on Earth is going to need an IP address assigned to them just didn't make any sense back then. However, we're slowly reaching that point. And what's happening is our current version of IP, called IP version 4, is slowly running out of addresses. And within a few years, we will be out of addresses. In order to make up for this particular problem, there's a new version that's in development. This is called IP version 6. Now, many people ask, what happened to IP version 5? And what happened was a misunderstanding in naming. There was a protocol which was experimental. It was called ST, which stands for Stream Protocol. This protocol was dubbed the name IP version 5. And even though it wasn't really slated to replace IP version 4, it used that name up. So IP version 6 is the next generation of IP addresses. Now, instead of using 32 bits like our IP version 4 does, it has 128 bits for addressing. These are broken up into 16 octets. As far as the way we would see it, it'd be written here, which is hexadecimal. So this isn't 369A, it's 369A colon 54B4, and so on. If you notice, there's 8 of these hexadecimal numbers, and this is how our IP address will be situated. Now, there are some items set up to allow somewhat of a compatibility between IP version 4 and IP version 6, because if we just switch over to IP version 6, it's going to be a giant mess. But several of these have been set aside to allow for that compatibility. And when this does come out, there'll probably have to be several programs out there to help conversion and to help communication during the transition. In order to make this easier for us to understand, if we take an address and the first 6 segments are all zeros, we can abbreviate it with double colons. So it's very realistic that when this comes out, especially in the beginning, of having IP addresses that are going to look similar to this, the way we would write it would be : FA01 : 1F21, making the naming scheme much easier for us. There are many different features that come along with IP version 6. As it's obviously seen, we have 128 bits here to assign for IP addresses. This gives us more than enough IP addresses that we could possibly use. There's more space that can be allowed for levels of hierarchy as far as breaking up a given site however you may need to, similar to our subnetting. There's flexibility with your header formatting. And there's the ability to put optional control information in the header of the datagram that's sent back and forth. As of right now, IP version 6 is not completely developed because we don't know yet how exactly we're going to implement it. There's a real good chance that when they go to the implementation, for a little bit of time, the internet and communications are going to be a mess. Once they get all those details resolved, you'll probably start seeing a little bit more about the incorporation of IP version 6 into some of our operating systems. A possibility with our Windows 2000 environment might be a service pack or an update that would help convert the networking component of the operating system over to reading the IP version 6. Either way, it's going to be some exciting times and some good job possibilities for anybody who's versed on what's coming out with IP version 6.